दायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So we are doing what would be called Shrishti Chintanam, Shrishti Vichara, an analysis of the very concept of creation. This is what we're doing. So the question is, why? What is the reason for this vichara, this discussion about Shrishti? So it is because in our estimation of who we are, what are we doing, what is this world all about, Shrishti plays an important role. Because sooner or later, once the person is pretty much over the education and getting jobs and getting married and so on, and the thoughts, even before that, but certainly sometimes after that, the whole idea about creation enters our mind, whether consciously or unconsciously, but everybody has that. So it is an important part of understanding of what it means and how we should look at it. What should we make out of? What should we make of it? So from the standpoint of the Advaita, it says fundamentally that our attempts to gain a sense of wholeness, wholefulness, completeness, freedom, happiness, all similar different words to describe the same idea, you're not going to be able to do it by analyzing the world in front of you, as we normally do. That we, not normally, we always do that. If you really examine everyone in the whole world, they are doing something different, whether we should have a war, not have a war, this person is good, that viewpoint is not good, making money, all those kinds of things. All with the respect of examining and analyzing the world to see how I can utilize it to the best ability. So here the Vedantic view is, Acharya views, the wisdom of Veda says, you can do it up to a certain point, but it is not something that you can ultimately solve, because it is an insolvable problem. So it says it's an insolvable problem. It's not as though, okay, we can all try it. Maybe we can find a solution to happiness, as we are doing. Everybody is doing that. It categorically states, my dear student, please understand, you are playing with windmills. You're playing with shadows, and it is an everlasting, insolvable problem the way you are looking at it. And if you deny that, go ahead, keep doing it. Ultimately, you will please come to this, you will get tired. It's exactly what happens in our life. We try to do all kinds of things, and then age starts to take over, and you just feel tired. I don't know. I can't do anything more than this. I don't know what to do. And this is how the life passes and just goes on and on and on. So this is what Vedanta says. This is not the way to solve. Then what is the way to solve? The way to solve the riddle of happiness or freedom is to look at not what you are seeing, but who is seeing it, as we discussed last week also. So a vichara on the drik rather than a vichara on the drishya is the right direction. And it's not as though it's quick or as soon as you turn around and so on, you'll get the answer, unless you have done all of the vichara correctly in previous lives but did not complete it. That's possible. In which case, your wood is dry, and as soon as the matchstick generates some flame, your wood will catch it and the fire would spread, and you will destroy the very wood that is carrying the fire. Only fire will remain, not the wood. Otherwise, what happens is that the wood is not dry and you are trying to set it on fire. And before the wood becomes fiery, the matchstick is gone. The fire, then you start another one. So this is the thing. It's not going to be easy. You have to make your own. So here, the analogy of the fire of the wood being dry is the ability to follow the directions and logic of Advaita Vedanta. The only type of Vedanta is Advaita Vedanta. Everything else is not really, cannot be called. You can call it anything you want to. You can say, so this is what I think we will discuss a lot on, that everybody says, oh, we're doing the same thing. What is the big difference? And, but really, the very, as you will see, there's a lot to say on this matter. Advaita Vedanta says, my dear, please understand, you are already free, but just don't understand it. That's it. Freedom is not to be imported. It doesn't have to be started. It cannot be started because freedom is your own nature. You are the very nature of happiness. You cannot do any better than that. You cannot add to it. You cannot subtract from it. You can just pretend as though you are playing with it, as we will see in more clarity as we go on. So this is the viewpoint. So here, in that sense, a vichara on Srishti is very appropriate because as we are unfolding, there is no real Srishti. Srishti is not, it does not It does not happen. Nothing begins. You don't begin. You were never born. You took up a body and you may give it up, but you will remain the same. You always are the same. So, consistent with this view, and also of the view that you being the same means what? You cannot just be a sakshi in one corner. This is a huge teaching. This is where the teaching begins actually. It doesn't end here, it begins. Because what happens is that people are very happy just trying to be a sakshi. It does give a certain peace of mind, no doubt about it. I will discuss all of the various ways that people achieve peace of mind, either through karma or through upasana or through yoga or through krama mukti. All kinds of things are possibilities that people think about. But the Advaitic Vedantic view is you are already what you want to be. And if you say, what? Exactly. How you could just remove that question from your mind is what it requires. Moksha is not a sadhya vastu. It's not something to be acquired. It's not apraptasya prapti. It is praptasya prapti. You're already moksha, mukta. Already have been. It's never a point where you were not. You just don't see it. And all that Vedanta does is to see, why is it that I don't see? It was going to come a little bit later, but I'll just mention it as part of this introduction. In Swami Akhandananda, in his various discourses over the entire, he has spoken to so many people like you and I, and in fact, better than you and I, because they are really committed in their life. That's all they're doing, nothing else. But still, they have not achieved a sense of mukti. He talks to thousands of people about this. And and it comes up in his books from time to time as a very common theme of why is it that people don't understand something which is already done. Because that's the question in our mind, is that how is it that you paint a picture that I am something amazing, and my experience is that I'm just an ordinary Joe, if you want to call it. I'm just a simple person, limited person. How is it? And Swami Akhandananda says, if you really ask my opinion, he does say, so please ask my opinion. Anyway, he repeats this ad infinitum. Says the main cause is you are too involved in trivial thinking. Your mind is so full of small things. Where do I buy this from? How do I sell it? How do I preserve it? How do I keep my body healthy? How do I do this? This is what you're completely involved in. And if you're told, wait, all of this really doesn't make any sense. You're okay the way you are. The mind says, I don't get this. You are okay the way you are. Because I'm not. I'm struggling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and so on. Exactly. Please remove your mind from trivial thinking. This is his message over and over all again. He says, he discusses this a lot in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Hope we'll have time to do all of that. He says, just look at this. A sense of ignorance, a sense of non-appreciation, where does it lie? Where does it lie? Where is it? How can we say where is it? Is it? And of course, we have various. We look at it in various ways. Generally, we blame the world. That if the world stopped treating me badly as badly as it has, I'll be okay. So the blame, if you want to call it the blame, generally rests in outside of you. In a lot of the cases, it does inside of you. And this is what leads to people committing suicide. Depression, oh my God. What a big industry it has become. I think when I was growing up, in the 40s, I was born in early 40s. I don't think we had even coined the word depression. Mindfulness. Those words, at least we had never come across in our. We used to say sometimes, we used to lump it together. In Hindi, we'll say, wo to pagal ho gaya. He's gone crazy. Yeah. So you get people with crazy behavior and so on and so forth. So anything which is outside of the normal was put into this section of pagal ho gaya. Crazy ho gaya. He's become crazy. That's it. Then you go on. People will say, uska mood kharab ho gaya. His mood has gotten bad. Yes, we can do that. But this thing about depression, where you have a unsavory view about yourself. Who am I? People don't like me. What's my identity? Especially in this happens to everyone in their teenage. Anyway, so going back to where does the ignorance or where does the blame lie? So it either lies on the world outside, or sometimes it lies with yourself and becomes depression. That I'm no good. So there you have to have a psychiatrist, psychoanalyst. One of my wife's nieces, she just completed her PhD, and she's now doing some clinical work on what's called clinical psychology. And once she first entered this several years back, she's still very young. I think she's 30 or so, just very, very young. We also say clinical psychology. Why are you doing that? Why don't you just do some medicine, law, or engineering or something like that? No, she wanted to do clinical psychology. We all thought, I don't know what's going to happen to her. Do you know she is so much in demand? Just in the last 1 year, she was finishing up a fellowship at Stanford. She had completed her PhD and she had to be given something. So you won't believe this, for 1 year, she was on a 24-hour suicide watch. 24 hours. Right in the middle of the night. And so as a trainee, she was supposed to do these. And she's being evaluated. How does she respond to it? People are saying, I don't want to live. I just wait. She has to carry them on and so on and so forth. Hundreds of cases like this. So going back to Vedanta, the question is, where does this ignorance stay? What is the basis of the ignorance? Because everything has to have a basis, you know. Either the furniture has to have a floor. Okay, we have to be standing on the earth. The earth has to be moving around. So everybody has to have an adhisthana. Excuse me. Everything has to have an adhisthana. So where is the adhisthana? Swami Akhandananda asked this question about ignorance. It's certainly not outside because it's keep changing. So you cannot blame any one thing. And Swami Akhandananda is so beautifully points out. He says, just look at it. He says, think about it. No one is your permanent friend. And no one is your permanent enemy. Who is good to you today may not be good to you tomorrow. And also the one who you are disliking today can you become your best friend. It all keeps changing. You don't know what's going on. Anirvachaniya, incomprehensible. Can't define it. Can't say, okay, I've done it. Friendship also means constant touch. If you haven't called anybody for 6 years and they've gone through a lot of problems and so on and used to be your friend, you cannot say, this is my best friend. Can't do that anymore. You don't care. And people who were really hurting you at one time can become your benefactor. Anyway, so where does ignorance lie? It doesn't lie outside. It doesn't lie inside of you. Certainly not in the Atma. Because the Atma, it says, asangoham ayam Atma. It is never born. It is sakshi. It cannot be affected by sakshya, by the drishya. It cannot lie there. Where it lies is in your own mind. Somehow, because of your previous vasanas, your previous experiences, your karma, your background, and so on, your mind has convinced you, I am a limited person. This is a very big thing. A very big. This is the door through which we all have to pass. Everybody has to pass through this. Which is, am I really a limited person? Koham parichannaha. Parichannaha. This is an important Sanskrit word. Am I limited? Here's the question that I have to ask. Instead, what kind of limitation I have, this is what I'm struggling with. Everybody has a different kind of limitation. It's just amazing how different kinds of limitations occur. Recently, in one of a very senior manager at Google, you may have heard of it, Susan Wojcicki, and we had a closer idea of who she was. My son also worked with her, and I was aware of her contributions at YouTube and so on. At the age of 56, she died of a lung cancer, which is so difficult to detect that by the time you detect it, it's too late. Brilliant woman, very nice person, with a lovely family. Premature death. Everyone has their own crosses to bear. And to try to become a perfect person by solving the world's issues, it's not possible, my dear. You don't need to do it. This is the thing. We think we have to do it. You don't have to do it. In fact, this is interesting. This is the door, as I was saying. Swami Khandananda makes it very clear that this is the door that we all have to pass through. And we will work on this. And the biggest issue is that I am assuming I am parichanna. I'm assuming I'm limited. How do I become unlimited? How do I become unlimited? Unlimited cannot be become. You are either unlimited and don't know it, or you cannot do it. And so in our more subtle thinking, as we will go forward, it will be explained to us. It will be explained to us. This is the door we all have to pass through, which is, am I really parichanna? And then the inquiry really starts. This is the meaning, as we will see. Hopefully we'll get enough time to understand the first Brahma Sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth as ideas come, so I don't know, this whole thing is getting delayed, but hope you're okay with it. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Jnatum Ichha Jigyasa. Therefore, there is a desire to know Brahman. Beautiful. Because it's interesting, you cannot will a desire. You cannot will it. You cannot say, Swami Dayananji used to do this. He says, suppose I want you all to have a goal right in front of me. Everybody become very angry right now. Everyone, please. Okay, I'm looking at all of you. I want everyone within 5 minutes to become angry. Or if you want to look at it this way, everybody should become totally happy. You can't do it. And yet, unknowns to you, anger slips in to you. And also unknown to you, a feeling of satisfaction and okayness comes just without your even asking. Just comes. So therefore, to know Brahman is not an ichha that you can generate. But at some point in time, there comes a point in saying, this is not working the way my life is. I'm not going to be able to solve this. But I still want, I cannot get rid of my basic desire to be happy. How do I do that? So this is why the very, very important shloka in the Mandukya Upanishad. My goodness. If you and I understand that, and I hope we will talk enough about it, this is a very, very important. You know what it is. I would recommend that you write it down and keep it in front of you. And if you want to try to just understand, look at some translations for it from time to time. But the real understanding will come when we discuss it directly. This is what called Sakshat Karanam. Otherwise, it is just Paroksha Jnana. Anyway, the very famous Upanishad mantra is Parikshalokan karmachitan ayat brahmanaha nasti akritaha kritena tat vijnanartham gurumeva abhigachet shotriyam brahmanishtam. Parikshalokan karmachitan ayat brahmanaha nasti akritaha kritena tat vijnanartham gurum eva abhigachet shotriyam brahmanishtam. Means once you have exhausted your foolish search to find your happiness in the world and you cannot find it, but you are still hopeful, you find someone to say, is it possible? Are there people that have done it? Can I do it? What is to be done? So there it is taught. There is nothing to be done. There is something to be known. That's when the inquiry starts. Anyway, it goes on from there. So going back now, I think after all this half hour of hopefully some good fodder for your mind, let's go back to the mainstream of our discussion, which is how do people view Shrishti? So this is what is called Shrishti Chintanam, Shrishti Vichara. How do the people view it? So we saw earlier that Shrishti Chintikaha are various kinds. They have and something more will come in 7, 8 and 9, all three of them. Not exhaustively, but they will pretty much cover most of it. What do we say about it? So there it is said, and this is the Adi Shankara's Adi Shankara's shloka that these are Shrishti Chintika. And those who are Paramarthika Chintika, they do not deal with Shrishti. They don't, because it is an insolvable thing, there is no Shrishti. There's no Shrishti at all. It is, it's an appearance which will come and go. So the various example of looking at a snake in a rope, you cannot, it is useless to think about what kind of a snake was it. You can say, I saw a snake and I'm really scared. I think it is still there. And you can only vaguely describe it. Oh, it was kind of like shiny and it had a couple of curves. It was about 3 feet long. And it was about half an inch thick. That vaguely. Anything more? Did it have a mouth? Kind of, I think so. A tail? You cannot just go to a dictionary of different types of snakes. Different species of snakes. And then you say, okay, was it this one? What is he going to say? I'm not sure. Okay, how about this one? This is what's going to happen. None of that is really useful. This is what is called Shrishti Chintika. My dear, there is no Shrishti because itself is superimposition upon yourself, as we will see. It is much more important to see what is the reality behind the snake. And the reality behind the snake is the image of the rope. It's not even the rope, as we will see. It is the image of the rope, because the image of the rope is also dependent on you. The image of the snake is also dependent on you. But the image of the rope gives you some peace of mind because it is harmless. And so Shrishti Chintikas are sort of deciding what kind of a snake is it. Is the Shrishti like this? Some people say, no, I think it is based on karma. Some people say, no, it is based on Ishvara. There's all kinds of things. Let's say there is no Shrishti, my dear. You are the very Adhisthana and Prakashakaha. You are the one who is giving the light to the Shrishti, and the Shrishti is lying on you as the very basis. Don't you see that? No, I don't see that yet. Okay, I agree. You don't see it yet, but let's work on it, because that's the only way to do that. So this is why Adi Shankara says the Paramarthika Chintika, the one who want to really get to the very core of it, they do not have the adara for the Shrishti. Okay, fine. But at least can you give me some ideas on what I should do, how I should proceed further? I hope we can have enough time to do that. At least just do that. So there we saw an important mantra. You can take out any other mantra, but in this case, in the matter of Shrishti, this particular mantra from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is very relevant and is to be taken up. And it says, this is given on page 336 of Swami Ekhananda's books. Indro maya bhi pururupa iyate. Indro, Indraha, through the Sandhi rule it becomes Indro, but it really is Indraha with the Visarga. Indraha maya bhi pururupa iyate. The meaning of this is Indra. Indra here, as we saw in the last class, if you look at the Adhyatmika view, not the Adidaivika view, because the Adidaivika view is that it's Ishvara, some Ishvara person separate from me, who is running the show, and that one person appears as many. But if you look at the Madhyatmika view, which is closer to you, which is really the one we should really think about, is Indraha means the self. Maya bhihi pururupa iyate means pururupa iyate. Let's look at it from the backwards. Iyate means it is seen to be, it is perceived to be, it is experienced as Pururupa. Pururupa means Bahurupa, in the form of plurality, of manyness. The single person is seen as plurality, and then there's a reason given. Why, how it is a single person be, either a thing is singular or it is multiple. How is it that a single person can be seen as multiple? Yes. Maya bhi. So this is the third case. Maya bhi means because of Maya. So it means, interestingly enough, a single person can be seen as many. As we saw, that if you have a appropriately placed mirror, the one, and you walk in there, you suddenly have multiple copies of yourself. And of course, if you keep looking, you find that it becomes less and less clear. And the very end, it just becomes very vague. But there are multiple of you. Swami Dayananda used to say this. He says, this is Vedic math, Vedic arithmetic. So normal arithmetic means 1 plus 1 is equal to what? 2. And you add another 1 to it, becomes 3. It's called Ekam. Ekam means 1. And then Ekam becomes Dvitiyam. And then you add another 1 to it, it becomes Tritiyam. This is the normal math. This is the law. The Vedic math is different. How is it different? You add 1 to another 1. It stays the same. 1 plus 1 equals 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 1. This is the Vedic math. So it reflects the thing. So this is why it is called this is what is called Kaivalyam. Kaivalya Upanishad. Kevalasya bhavaha kaivalyam. The one and only is what is called ekam advitiyam. If you don't understand it, if you're a 1-year-old child or a dog or an animal, you will see dvitiyam, tritiyam, chaturtham. You will see manifoldness. But a 6-year-old, somewhere around there, probably earlier than that, the person sees plurality but concludes no harm in singularity. Why? Because the other ones are at a lower level of reality. It looks real, but looking real doesn't mean it is real. This is what has to happen. So here, Indraha Mayabhihi Pururupa Iyate means this single person appears as many because of Maya. The question is, what is Maya? How do you mean Maya? There's nothing very mysterious. Maya is described in various ways. Let's look at some other ways. But let's look at it very simply, one at a time. So now you are a seer, right? You are a sakshi, a seer. In deep sleep, you alone are the seer. With nothing to be seen, you're just pure awareness, pure jnanam. Because the awareness never really gets interrupted. Awareness is always there, jnanam is always there because that is your swarupa. But in the deep sleep, you alone are it. Now, in the waking world, what happens is you operate, the Indra. So you are the Indra. So this we saw this etymology of the word Indra. It means the one who sees is Indra. And now what happens is that you have a mouth and you can create a sound. Om, Om. Some words you can create as we were talking, as I'm talking. And you also have ears. And you can even hear your own words. Oh, you're talking, or somebody else is talking, and you're hearing. Oh. So here in this phenomena, what happens is that you, the seer, can Hear yourself. This is also yourself. The sound is also yourself. If I'm just talking to you now, you're not there in front, you're far away somewhere. But I can hear my own voice and I can enunciate my own voice. Om. So I am the Indra in as we all are, but in this case, I am the Indra. And through the Indriya, I become a talker. You see? I become a hearer. I become a seer. I become a doer. I become a walker. I. Without giving up my I-ness. See this very interesting thing. Without giving up myself, I become the seer, the walker, the talker. And I don't see, I'm not focused on my singularity. I get focused in my plurality. It's as though I am aparichinna, and through the various upadhis, like the room is a upadhi for the space, I become there. So many different upadhis for me, such variety that's necessary for me to become a human being. But I don't transform myself. So this is a way to understand this, that the Chetana Vastu, Jnanam, the I, never becomes the seer and the hearer and the talker and the walker and the goer. Never becomes. It's called parinama. In Advaita Vedanta, there is no such thing as a parinama. That is only there in the Vyavaharika Sat. No such thing. It's all Vivarta. Vivarta means without giving up my singularity, I enjoy plurality. And the issue is that I get lost in the plurality. I give up my singularity. Now I'm not aware of that. And I'm only now become entangled. Problems begin. Parichinnata starts. And I become a walker, talker. So from the standpoint of Indriyas, both the Jnana Indriyas as well as Karma Indriyas, And the word Indriya comes from Indra. So the very expression of Indra through the Indriyas is tantamount to plurality. This is what is called Maya. So, if you were to segment the Maya, just look at it one thing at a time. You want to do meditation? Do meditation. I am just the hearer. So the ears become the Maya Shakti. So the Maya Shakti expresses itself by the apparent transformation of myself as a walker, talker, etc., etc. So this is one segment. Now let's go further. Let's go more inward. So far we are at the sense organs and the sense and the organs of action. Let's go inwards. The mind. Maya is the mind. Basically, Maya is that mind that seemingly converts me from being singular to plural. Seemingly converts me from aparichinna. Parichinna means unlimited, like spaces. It seemingly makes me parichinna through the mind. Because the indriyas are simply the workers of the mind. They help consolidate the mistake. But the mistake itself, through the Maya Shakti of the mind, you see, this is what we have talked about before also, if you recall in some of the earlier classes. Sometimes, we make the problem more complex just from the fact that we want to not solve it. Why do we not, how do we not solve, not why, but how do we not solve it? By making it into a big thing that I don't know what it is. This is what happens. Whereas our acharyas say, my dear student, please own it. Don't keep it on a pedestal and say, oh, I don't know what Maya Shakti means. Maya is your own mind. It's kind of like a kaleidoscope. You look through that, and all of a sudden you see so many different things going on, patterns changing. When in fact there is nothing going on. You are the very light looking through it. So the mind is also nothing but like a kaleidoscope. And it makes very interesting, very, very harmful conclusions that I am parichinna. This is the basic problem. So first of all, the Maya operates at the level of organs. Then you're going inside, it operates on the level of the mind. Then you go further, it operates through different kinds of upadhis of the Maya. You go further, it operates as your own buddhi, your own knowledge. Is there something there? No, there is not something there. Is this good? Is this bad? Ascertainment of that is the buddhi. And it all has to do with the fact that the basic mistake is that I think I am parichinna, I am limited. The only question is, what kind of limitation? So now the error is magnified because I have 3 or 4 levels of ignorance. Ignorance at the level of the organs, ignorance at the level of the mind, ignorance at the level of buddhi, and even at the point of ignorance at the point of how can I be aparichinna? How can I be unlimited? No, that's not possible. That's not possible. Only God is unlimited. I cannot be unlimited. Those kinds of arguments is also the Maya Shakti. This is how, any definition of Maya here is, if you want to just write a Sanskrit, there's so many different ways that Maya Shakti works on. So one of them is Miyate Anaya iti Maya. Miyate means that which establishes. Pramarnitaha in Sanskrit, Pramarnitaha. Yes, I can see. I can see. So that means I'm a limited person with eyes and a seer. And so this is what Swami Khanananda says is trivial thinking. Of course you are seeing, you're doing all this. But you have to really go beyond it, because by seeing and hearing and talking and walking and going, it is really looking at yourself through different colored lenses. But you are the light which is powering the various lenses. And as you look through that, you'll see, oh, I am a green. Oh, no, now I think if I add blue to it, I become like this. They can be yellow. You're always looking outside, outside, different ways. So the sense of touch, the sense of taste, the sense of experiences, thinking and all that becomes the only reality. So this is another way of explaining, another aspect, not way, but another aspect of explanation of Indraha Maya Bhi Pururupa Iyate. Then there is another one which is equally important to see. This is the magic. So this is explained is Ya Ma Sa Maya. One that makes you see something which is not there. So, we talked about the singularity expressing as plurality. That also is a very beautiful, interesting thing. How can a singularity express as plurality? Through kaleidoscope kind of a thing. I was thinking about the other day, I don't know where I saw this example. Supposing you stick uh, supposing you put a wooden stick in water, as we used to do. I'm sure that you've also done it. And if not, then do partially through the water. Supposing this is the water, so you put the stick partially in the water and partially out. It's very interesting. The stick looks bent. It looks bent. And you take it out and it's not bent. You put this back in, it becomes partially bent, partially unbent. Magic. It is not bent, but it makes it look as though it is bent. So similarly, the Maya Shakti means it is magic. When it is not there, it makes you look. I was telling you about, I've had obviously many, many dreams, as you do also. You can recite to it. But this one left a great impression on me, that my dad, who's been gone for decades, came knocking on the door. And I'm saying, Dad, what are you doing in these clothes at this time? It seemed like I was living in an urban apartment and he had to get there through taxi or something, and he was wearing a nightgown. And I'm having a conversation with him. He says, it's okay, it's okay. And I'm viewing him. Saying, what's gone with him? It's probably because I think I must have had that dream in the wintertime, because in the wintertime, if you see me in the house, I'm always wearing a dressing gown on top of my pajamas. It's very nice and it's all cotton, but it keeps me warm. And I can just have my cup of coffee, and I even now I actually study and meditate and so on, all in that until very late, like 10:30. And then I have to do my exercises, then I take a shower. So until then, I don't change. So I wear the dressing gown all the time. And my dad, I inherited that from my dad, because he used to be in the home in the dressing gown almost the entire day. Sometimes my mom will get mad at him and saying, come on, change. So I had an image of him in the dressing gown, and that's what I saw. I tell you, I woke up from there and I says, I swear I saw him. I talked to him. Is exactly what has happened to us. You and I are walking, talking, listening, hearing, sitting down. We're doing none of it. Did you know that? You are the same Atma you always have been. You're the same person. What walks is your image. What talks is your own image. Exactly like when you wake up from a dream. And if we really understand this, that what I'm looking at is really none other than my own reflection, then it becomes ekam advitiyam. But for this, my mind has to be purified and made more subtle because until then, I am still struggling with being a limited person. I view my whole life as through sense of limitation, when in fact there is no such thing in limitation in the whole creation. Eka Jivavada is only a single person. You can call it Parameshwara or you can call it the Atma, as we saw. Same person has multiple names. Ajnata Atma iti Parameshwara, Ishvara. Jnata Atma, Atma. And so our sense of a wise person's sense of creation is that it is just an appearance. There is no real creation. I was never created. Nothing is ever created. It is only Atma, the Brahman. And through this mistake of the mind that I am a limited person, if that Ajnana Vritti is looked upon carefully through with the help of the Shastra, the freedom of yourself, which you already are, will become evident. So this is the view of the Shrishti in the from the eyes of waking up. This is waking up. And that the creation is only true because it is made out of you. It is made up of you. To the extent that the ornament is real, to the extent that the ornament is gold is because it is made up of gold. So similarly, the extent by which things appear to be real is because you are real. It borrows the reality from you. This has to be seen. So with that, I think we will complete verse number 7. There's a couple of things more to talk about, but not much. And then, as I promised, I'll also reveal the same truth through Gayatri Mantra next Saturday. Okay? So we'll go with that. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Good. Nice to see you all. So we'll happy to hold a 2 day retreat, as you have seen in the WhatsApp message. So I will send you all the details through an email. Um, it's very possible that some of you may not be on that email list, but after I will send it to you, then I can announce it in these classes to see if somebody did not receive it, we'll add to it. Um, I am also thinking that um, I would like to ask maybe some of the newer, younger students that have been with me only for the last year or two to kind of form a group to arrange for this retreat to go well. The major things have already been done. The site has been selected, and we always have Chawla and Kalpana and Bharat and Raj and others to do the basic stuff like food and so on and so forth. But I would like to get a younger group take the responsibility for implementing the details of it in a way that it comes off well. And I think it's an important part of the growth of as a student, because I did that a lot, arranging for Puja Swamiji's retreats and Swami Viditatmananda and Swami Tattvavedanandaji with your help. And it would be nice for us to do that. So I have about 5 or 6 people in mind, and I will send you a separate email to invite you to look at some things like audio and food and the others will all help you in the background, but I think it'll be nice for you to do that. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. All right, with that, I take your leave and hopefully we'll see you on Saturday. And I think it'll be good to talk about the Gayatri Mantra in that one. So look forward to spending some time on that. Okay, Hari Om.